The Scott Morgan Foundation is calling on the world to help tear down barriers.
It sure is difficult getting around CES, but if you have mobility issues, it's impossible. But you guys have a solution for people who have mobility issues. So, Levon, why don't you tell us what this is?
Absolutely, I'd love to. A year ago, I came to CES to take a look at what was available for accessibility and was really surprised and shocked that there were so many amazing companies doing great things, but they weren't talking or communicating with each other. I couldn't get my head around. It didn't make a lot of sense. I was working with the Scott Morgan Foundation, and I started asking just simple questions. Why can't you use your eyes to control a wheelchair? What happens if a cheek muscle, like thinking Stephen Hawking, stops working? Or if your eyes are tired, what do you do? And Andrew and I started talking. We had a vision and a dream to be able to put these technologies together. And I'll let you talk a little about this.
So what we've managed to do at the Scott Morgan Foundation is bring multiple companies together. People that on their own have a sort of fantastic individual solution, but bringing them all together, it creates an amazing system where you have multiple modalities of input. So we have the iris bond with the eye gaze, we have ear switch with an inner ear switch, and we
Augmental with the tongue.
exactly, and we have augmental with the mouth pad. And bringing all those together, it allows somebody the maximum ability to communicate.
And deep brain with an AI avatar.
This is it. And what we also have on the front of the chair is Erin's avatar. She's 24, she has ALS, and we've managed to bank her mannerisms, her
Catch the essence of who she is, to get her voice, to be able to have the inflections of her voice. So she has neuromuscular degeneration, she can use her eyes, she can use different modes to be able to talk, and the avatar can capture the essence of who she is in the beginning of her disease, and as it progresses, she can use this avatar to communicate. She can use the wheelchair, which is self-driving, to have mobility. And I think the whole idea is disability is very isolating, and we want to be able to know that anyone that is in a wheelchair, that has a neurodegenerative disease, that's dealing with paralysis, that's dealing with a stroke, many different conditions, I'll back up 1 second and say by taking one of the most severe diseases, which is ALS, we realize we're solving problems for other diseases. So to be able to take someone and give them mobility, give them multiple means and ways to communicate is going to be a game changer, to stay connected to their family, to be able to talk about their needs. And just the last thing I would say about this, it was really amazing to get all these companies together and to talk. And Andrew and I spent a year literally going around the world talking company to company, and not just looking for companies that would talk to each other, but that really wanted to put the user first, that was the focus. And that was important, that had the right business ethos. And doing that, we started to really understand this needed to be about the user. And it's perfect because one of the things that happened is Lenovo got involved and was able to pitch an avatar working with a group that they're working with, Deep Brain, which come and tell us about it.
So Lenovo had been working with Deep Brain AI as part of our AI Accelerators program and promoting the work that they do. And we wondered what could happen if we shifted their technology to focus on assistive tech, on accessibility and all of those things. And Deep Brain AI, to their tremendous credit, just said yes. They were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what's possible. What can we make happen? And it hinged on finding the right person, someone early on in their experience, someone recently diagnosed who would be the right candidate to capture their voice, their mannerisms, their personality, and preserve all of those things. And we were able to, with the Scott Morgan Foundation, and then partnering directly with Deep Brain AI, and Lenovo sponsored the avatar creation. And we were able to show what's possible. When you are thinking about inputting text with the traditional keyboard, which is designed not even around human hands, it's designed around not having a typewriter glitch and a mechanical crash, right? And so the Scott Morgan Foundation pioneered the circular keyboard, which is a very different way to input information that's organized around the eye. But at the same time, there's a delay, right? It's not as fast as typing generally for most folks. And so we at Lenovo thought, well, how do we use AI to make this faster, to make this more intuitive? And of course, generative AI and what's possible with predictive text was the obvious solution. But the added layer on that was unlike what you see with, if you're in your usual email program. I'm trying not to say product names, but it guesses the next word. But it's just one option for the next word. But what if you had 4, right? And then additionally, what if you could do that offline when it matters, when you have some healthcare concern, some urgent need? So how do you take a large language model, have it be offline, have it be personal, have it be reliable, and give you multiple options so you can actually input technology? And so our data scientists developed this prototype of a predictive text LLM that then would operate on the back end of this circular keyboard and provide all of these different options for people to say what they need to say as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, without compromising anything. And now we're bringing this all together in a first of its kind in so many ways. And we'll see what comes next.
One of the things that seems to me the power here is that you've created this kind of this modular open source system, if you will, that could really be extensible and also fitted to the particular person's needs.
One thing that we're all really excited about, and Erin gave us a great opportunity, is just to focus on the user. And so often we see in technology that the user is not involved in the design process. So one thing that we've been super excited about is not just having Erin, but getting the feedback and be able to look at different types of users and how can any user in any particular state in any place of their disease be able to custom design the software that they're using to speak to their needs, and also not just speak to their needs, to grow with them as the disease progresses, as it changes, and to be there and to be seamless. Because the thing that I noticed when I came a year ago that we were talking about is people are having to switch platforms. Something works for a while, then you have to go learn a new software and start all over again. You might, in this disease, elect to have a brain-computer interface, and then once again, you're having to deal with more software. And our idea is whatever place you're at with whatever disability, including aging in place and home, that you can have a seamless experience. And in the case of this large language model, technology is getting to know you better to help you be able to present who you are, capture the essence of you, and if that is dissipating along the way, to continue to be able to convey that.
One of the other things I noticed too is just its form factor. It seems like you're at the same level, and that's got to be a huge difference in the life of a person.
I am so glad you brought that up, and I'll pass it around. I learned actually dealing with Peter Scott Morgan and his partner, it was really interesting. He would go in interviews, he would go in a hospital, and he noticed people would speak to his partner while he was in a wheelchair down here, not speak to him, not acknowledge him. And that's one thing we want to give Erin or anyone else that is in a situation like this, that they can rise up, sit down, be seen, be heard, capture who they are.
Peter, there was no hard distinction between his virtual digital self and his actual self. Right, so to create an avatar that really is you was him. And the process then before generative AI was so much more painstaking, so much more difficult.
And expensive.
And expensive, yeah, incredibly prohibitive. And so you see now the idea that this is on the same level. It's meant to be a seamless extension, however you're communicating, whatever you want to say, however you're inputting that information, that people would see this as you. And who's to say if that's how Erin is going to use it, right? Like, she may decide that she wants to use this to create social media content or something very different. But someone else may be like, yeah, this is me. Talk to me through this screen, through this avatar, and that's fine. It's meant to be adaptable in that way.
Yeah, so for instance, again, depending on where someone is, they may or may not have a screen. They may or may not have the curve board. So now what is the next step to taking this from kind of a proof of concept, a proof of one person, to making it generally available, say?
I am so happy you asked that question, because one of the things, and it's super exciting to me about the Scott Morgan Foundation, is we have this ethos and idea that we will build a concept car, and that may look like a Ferrari, but we will democratize it and bring it to everyone. So one of the many things that we're doing are talking to all the different technologies. So Deep Brain AI, for example, is coming up with a scalable solution. They've got some technology that you can use an iPhone, you can record for 2 minutes. It's in the future, we're working on that. And one of the most amazing things about the board, and such a privilege to work with, we have people, one of our trustees, who I mentioned is the ex-CTO from Lenovo, who understands how to bring devices to market. He worked with Stephen Hawking. Afterwards, he worked with Peter Scott Morgan. He is now with NVIDIA, and so of course we can't help but get excited at Lenovo and also NVIDIA of what's happening with AI. And for the first time, between large language models, computing power, suddenly things that were once hundreds of thousands of dollars have now become affordable. So anyhow, it's very good you asked that question, because we spend our days, basically 8-hour days, discussing how to democratize this, and it's happening all over the place. And a good place that it's happening is Lenovo and what you're doing with your large language model.
Yeah,
Your AI accelerator, excuse me.
Yeah, I don't think you need to look any further than just what Peter Scott Morgan, his experience with creating an avatar, in that he went to a professional movie studio, did this exhaustive motion capture, and then was given the tools to create something with heavy compute and like discrete chunks of video. And you know, it was powerful in so many ways. But now, with this Deep Brain AI, you're able to do like a superior avatar in so many ways. You're able to create it input with just text and all of that. And that's in just a few years, right? So you look at what generative AI is giving us. You look at what Deep Brain's next iteration, which is going to be, you know, with your phone, with your computer, like capture the video, create something. And I think the democratization is inevitable. Right?
You touched on this with NVIDIA, the self-driving capabilities. Oh my gosh, this is huge, right? Because
Also, great you bring that up, because the eye gaze tracking that you're discussing is at iRespond today. And one thing they plan to do is leverage NVIDIA's technology. There's a technologist, her name's Shalini DeMello, who is there, who's developed an algorithm that I believe comes now even with a 0.02% difference in what exists with the camera. And so all of that is changing technology. And just back to what's happening here, I think what's been amazing for me is this engineering exists. It's not we don't need to go find it. We do need to build it, but there's not a barrier any longer. What we need to do is show the world that it exists. And that's the biggest part and the joy of this story, just to say it exists and it's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, it gives hope, and you guys have given me hope. This is the best thing I've seen at the show. It's really cool. It's really neat. I wish you guys continued success and luck in this.